All right, here's 9-3 day 2. Focus is still on means. I want to show you an interesting little example. It's got some data from a couple students that did a project similar to the one you'll do in the spring. They tested the speed at the grocery store of the regular line and what you would call the express line. Sometimes now, like, it might be called like a self-checkout or that type of thing. If you don't have a lot of stuff, that you go to that real quick line with the idea it should get you out the door quicker. So these two tested it. They have, for each set of items that they checked out, they randomly decided which order they would check it out in, express and regular, but they needed a comparison, right? Because obviously it depends on what you're checking out. So the data we would really need to enter into our calculator is in red, okay? We're really looking at the difference between these two, and the way I subtracted them, I did regular minus express, okay? Now for each of these checkout times, we're hoping for positive numbers, right? At least that's what we think. If the difference of regular minus express is positive, let's write it out here. That means the number that you had for regular was bigger. Like on the first one, I'm taking 342 seconds, and then when we did the express lane, that set of items was 337. Okay, so the express lane was a little bit faster. But that's the data that we would plug in. It's another problem where you'll be in data mode. So for HO, I called it mu sub d, just that I'm taking the mean of the differences, right, as kind of a reminder that it was the data in the red after I subtracted each of those. That's the data I'm going to work with. I think mu sub d is going to be positive. And again, I have to define the order that mu sub d is regular minus express. Okay. If the express lane is really faster, which we think it is, and it's advertised to be, that average difference should be positive. Okay. Now my plan step, I'm still one sample. This needs to be in the name of our test. Oops. The design here is a matched pairs. That's why this problem just kind of looks and feels a little different. Remember, matched pairs is where a subject or an experimental unit gets it gets both treatments, more or less. And here, each of the set of groceries in random order gets both treatments. They get checked out with the regular lane and the express, but that data is paired together. That's why we had to take differences and then do the average. Okay? They had 15. I'm going to say we have SRS. Thinking for context here as to what to call it. I'm going to say items. That's what it refers to. They randomly selected 15 items and then went and checked. If you had said like 15 checkouts, that's fine, right? But they randomly selected. Oh, excuse me. Let me back up here. I don't want the. I'm going to switch it now that I'm reading it closer. They went at randomly selected times. Okay, so let's say we have an SRS of n equals 15 checkout times. Okay. "15 checkout times. Samples less than 30. Make your box plot. Here's what you would see on that box plot. Right, if I were grading that, I would be looking to see if you had a significantly longer right tail, that you actually made the plot. Graph is slightly skewed with no outliers. We'll assume it's normal. There's X bar. We're testing it against 0. There's S. This is all calculator info. That'll give us a t-score of 1.97. This particular t-distribution that was used had 14 degrees of freedom. And it will produce a p-value of 0.0347, which is less than 0.05, so we will reject HO, and we have convincing evidence on average that the express lane is in fact faster. Here's another one. This one does not take you through the full 4-step, it just basically takes you through the do. So it's another match pairs, because here each student got both treatments. The year before they had the old curriculum, the year before they had the new curriculum, right? So on the match pairs, right, and this is why we have to take the difference first, is for a particular student, I just want the difference between their personal score from the year before and the current year. Okay, I don't want theirs, like, I don't want to take the averages first and then take the difference. That's going to mix all the scores together, which I don't want. Okay? We don't want that at all. But that's where the match pairs come up, right? Each individual gets both sets of treatments, okay? And we take the difference. Under the new curriculum, their average score was 0.9 of a point higher. This has 499 degrees of freedom. All this info can still be retrieved on the calculator. You just need to be in stats mode, right? Which, to use stats mode, really the only three things you need are n, and typically that's the sample size, which is always provided, and then X bar and S, right? So when I saw that and that, I'm thinking, all right, I can go to my calculator and I can use stats mode. P-value is less than 0.05. We would reject HO, which we technically, well, there's HO. Okay. I don't like how we've worded this one. You should always stick to this. We reject HO. We have convincing evidence that the new scores are higher than the old ones. Okay? Who knows if that's a big, I mean, it didn't like go up a whole lot, right? But we're convinced that to some extent the scores went up, which largely, we're rejecting with that small of a difference because our sample size is huge, because it included 500 students. So our results are probably quite accurate, and there was a very, very small gain. You wouldn't have to get into all this kind of stuff. All you'd have to say after reject HO is, we're convinced that the scores increased on average with the new curriculum. Okay? Well, chapter 4 question here, though. Basically, do we have grounds for cause and effect, right? So we have two parts. This is we're kind of going back to this definition of what we need for cause and effect, that we need significant results from a well-designed experiment. Okay? The results are significant. Okay? That's what the test, that's why it's called a significance test. When we reject HO, that's what we're saying. But notice here, I go back to the other part and say, all right, was this experiment well-designed? I'm really thinking about two parts. Randomness? Yes. It says this, we randomly selected 500 students. Control? Nope. Okay? I would need, and this would be really, really tricky to do, in that second year, I would need a control group taking the same course with the old curriculum. Okay? I don't know. So from year to year, okay, their scores went up. That could be due to other stuff, right? I don't know how exactly to go about it, which is probably why they didn't, because it would be tricky. But all I'd really expect you to see here is the treatment is the new curriculum, right? And the experiment is happening that year, right? But I would need, for the current year that the new curriculum went in, I would still need data from the old curriculum. Don't have it, okay? Again, really all I'd expect you to see there is there's no control group, right? And without a control group, we're not going to say it's well designed, and we wouldn't say cause and effect.